You could also cook elixirs, as well as refilling your health. Sometimes they can give you sneaky abilities, because stealth is occasionally very important, especially this part right here where you're inside the desert cave, where you sneak past these guards. Yeah, that's pretty much all this entire level is. Just sneaking past one guard after another. And trust me, you don't want to alert them either, because once they get alerted, you'll have to take on their ninja clan, which you have no chance of taking out. You can try all you want to, but they'll just kill you. So basically, just sneak past them, and if you want to throw them off and distract them, well, throw a thing of bananas, because apparently these guys have a weakness for them, and thankfully this cave is chock full of them. So, yep, use them to your advantage right there. It starts out easy, but then it gets a lot trickier as you go on, because you have to fly past them, and it takes a lot of precision and everything not to get caught by these guys. And then after all that, the boss fight at the end of this is fairly easy, to say the least. Yeah. It's really not that hard, but as I said, stealth in this is very key. Of course, you also can get cold resistance. Yep, very useful if you don't have the cold resistant gear. Clothes, that is. And of course, heat resistant gear. Again, if you don't have the heat resistant gear, well, this is very useful right here. But otherwise, yep, basically, if you're in a cold place that your body can't stand, or a very hot place like the volcano around here, as I mentioned before, basically it's best to just walk through, keep refilling your health, and until you get to the store that sells the heat-resistant tunic, and there you go. You're in business right there. There's also ones that help refill your stamina. This is useful if you're trying to climb these really high mountains and cliffs and so forth, and you feel like you want to make it to the top, but you can't. Basically, no matter how many times you try, well, just eat this stuff up and refill your stamina. And there you go. Definitely very useful there. And there's also ones that can bring your speed up faster for swimming, climbing, and, well, running. What else do you expect there out of that? As I mentioned, this not only comes from some food, but also comes from some elixirs. Yep, you get these out of either lizards, frogs, bugs, anything you either find, or you buy at this guy that's just sitting there. Yep, he'll sell them to you, obviously a limited amount. I should also mention you can do the same thing with the cooking ingredients and veggies and so forth that, help make your dish tastier. In fact, you can buy these fruits and veggies and ingredients just about anywhere, any vendor in any town. But anyway, yeah, elixirs. You make these out of any insects, butterflies, bugs, lizards, frogs. Mix them up with all these different parts of monsters that you get after you defeat them. Cook it up right on the stove, just like food, and voila, you got yourself an elixir. And you may think there's a lot of side quests in this game as well. Well, yes, there is. I mean, there's so many of them, I've never been able to complete them all. I mean, there's so many of them that are useful, and others that are just, well, I feel a little unnecessary. And yes, you have to collect rubies, of course, to buy a lot of merchandise, and as well as selling these rocks and minerals you get from, well, blowing up these sparkling rocks along the cliffs and mountains, as I mentioned before. And, well, that's useful for buying items and refilling your inventory of bows and arrows. Yes, you get different types of arrows. You get basically plain arrows, fire arrows, ice arrows, shock arrows, and of course bomb arrows. So most of the other ones can be really expensive, but basically plain arrows are the cheapest. And yes, there's an easy way to cheap out to get easy fire arrows just by buying plain arrows. Just stick them right through any fire that's in a torch, campfire, anything, and there you go. Easy fire arrow right there. So yes, those are different types of arrows, and as you guess, there's even several different types of bows, which some of them are powerful, and just like melee weapons, well, they can obviously only be used to a certain point, and eventually they will break. Yeah, that sucks right there, but it happens, and you just gotta deal with it and pick up another one. Another thing I should also mention is, just like melee weapons and shields as well, obviously you have a limited inventory of how many you can carry on you. Well, how do you make room for another one? Well, you either drop one and pick that one up, because obviously some of these melee weapons and arrows are going to be more powerful than the other weak ones, or you increase your inventory screen by collecting these so-called Quahog Seeds. Yes, these things are spreaded and scattered all across the land of Hyrule. I mean, there's hundreds of them scattered all across this entire huge map. And saving these little guys, well, some of them are as simple as just picking up a rock, to jumping into a circle of lily pads in the water, climbing to the top of a spire, chasing a wisp, following a flower pattern. Got some puzzles like moving this thing into here, finishing a rock pattern, finishing a magnetic block pattern, and even doing some balloon archery with some easy and even some crazy ones like right here. Damn, that's freaking nuts. And even flying through some rings. So, yeah, this is just to name a whole few out of the bunch. But as I said, they're all over the place, and they all vary in difficulty as you expect. And anyway, after collecting a certain amount of these, you bring him to this guy, his locations change, until he finally stops in the middle of the Lost Woods. Ah, yes, the Lost Woods. Makes a return. I don't have to mention what a pain it could be trying to navigate this maze. Avoiding the mist that can take you back if you get lost in them, pissing you off. Well, with a lot of patience and keeping these lit torches in sight, it is beatable. And there you are. That isn't to say it's the only frustrating part of the Lost Woods. The shrine quest here, in particular, trying to tail this little guy without spooking him, yes, that can piss a lot of people off, and me as well. But otherwise, yes, in this village lies the one who with some Quahog Seeds will help increase your inventory. Only thing is, each additional slot, each one of these costs more Quahog Seeds each time you add one. Yep, goes up every time, so yes, the Lost Woods makes a return, as well as the Master Sword itself. Make sure you have enough hearts to be able to wield this baby. Not to mention, this sword does not break. Yeah, gotta love these nostalgic nods this game has. Horse riding makes a return, as you can see. You can either get on the horse and go to a stable, or name the horse that you found and keep him or her there. Call the horse, do whatever you want. It's all yours, no matter what. Not to mention, there's a much quicker way to transport than horse. What could be quicker? Oh, I don't know, if you have a shrine or a tower unlocked. There you go, instant transport right there. Hell, there's even a day and night mode transition, just like Ocarina of Time, and yep, just like that game. Skeleton things come out of the ground at night time, so you may have to be forced to fight them, or you can avoid them, do whatever you want. Want to pass the time quicker? Well, you can do it by standing or sitting next to a fire, or check into a cabin. But the cabin, of course, costs rubies, so yeah, your best bet's fire. Otherwise, yeah, you think the nostalgic nod stopped there? Yeah, not quite. You get the return of Kakariko Village. Or is this China? Yeah, that's what it seems to remind me more of, and this is basically part of the main quest of the game. And your main quest, I should say, is taking out these big beasts. As I mentioned, there's one on top of the volcano, there's another one on top of where the birds lived in the cold region, there's another one in the desert region, and there's another one in Zoro's region. Yes, Zoro's domain and lake and all that stuff makes a return. All the classic characters, as well as a bunch of new elements, are mixed in this game as well. And I'd say it's very well done. I mean, this game definitely takes a necessary step in making it feel new, and fresh, and familiar at the same time. And definitely gives you for the first time, as I recall, the ability to choose which place you want to complete first. I mean, yes, these beasts are basically the dungeons in the game, because, well, you not only have to defeat them to get inside, well, you have to complete the dungeon, which is a big maze of puzzles and door unlockings and everything. And yeah, trust me, it's just what any Zelda fan would really want. And eventually, once you complete them, you come across the boss fight, which most of them are easy. The only one I had a really tough time with beating is this water boss above Dora's domain. Yeah, this one can be a little bit tricky. And, well, okay, I did have a little bit of a tough time with the one above the desert. Just trying to get through his pattern moves and everything, but once you get it, it's not too hard. And eventually you get to the final level, which is Ganons Castle, which is huge and guarded by these big robot things that'll fly all over the place and try to kill you, and lots of treacherous trap, and this maze is huge, and, well, I might as well get to probably my biggest gripe with this game. Aside from these freaking robot guards that keep zapping and killing me, that I'm trying to get away from. This one can be a little bit tricky. And, well, okay, I did have a little bit of a tough time with the one above the desert. Just trying to get through his pattern moves and everything, but once you get it, it's not too hard. And eventually you get to the final level, which is Ganons Castle, which is huge and guarded by these big robot things that'll fly all over the place and try to kill you, and lots of treacherous trap, and this maze is huge, and, well, I might as well get to probably my biggest gripe with this game. Aside from these freaking robot guards that keep zapping and killing me, that I'm trying to get away from. You know how you have a big map? Yeah, this map is huge, right? And it shows you right here the map of the castle perfectly. Okay, that would help, but, well, not when you get inside the castle perimeter. The map changes and becomes its own thing. and it really just throws me off quite a bit, because now I have to get used to this thing. I mean, I like how it gives a three-dimensional feel to it, but it really should give me the option to going back to the basic 2D map, which I feel is much easier to get used to, as opposed to this 3D thing. It's so disorienting. I mean, I don't know how they screwed this up. So having to get used to this and trying to find your way around can be a pain in the ass, but once you get to the top, this is where the fight with Ganondorf starts out, and he starts out pretty easy for the most part. Well, mainly because those 4 divine beasts that you helped defeat and free helped take half of his health out. Oh, thank you guys, that's definitely helpful. Unfortunately though, after that you're left on your own to try to drain the rest of his health, and this can pose a real challenge trying to get to his fire shield. Yeah, basically you have to do these timely, slow motion type of moves on him, and do it at a very precise manner. And it also gets really annoying every time he keeps climbing up the wall and keeps firing shit at me. Come on, come down, freaking wussy. Fight like a real man would. So, as you'd expect, load up on lots of food, heart pieces, in other words, a lot of Shrine Quest beat, supplies, everything you need, locked and loaded and ready to go to fight the King of Evil himself and take him out. And this is just obviously the first part of it. And this last part actually isn't really that hard. I mean, it can be tricky trying to figure out how to take him out completely, because yeah, this is the last part, but, well, I had a little trouble with this the first time because I couldn't figure it out, but once I did, well, you have to fly around, and the scenery and everything looks great. It's so beautifully crafted. But once you get through all of it, and once you really figure it out, it's really not that hard. But, man, it's definitely satisfying taking out the King of Evil himself, bringing the land of Hyrule back to peace once and for all. And man, the music at the end credits, it's so beautiful. But overall, I'd say this game is definitely a superb entry into the series, and I can see Nintendo, judging by the amount of time that they took to make this game, I'd say it definitely surpassed the hype. It gave us a huge map, huge adventure, so much to do, so many side quests, so many shrine quests. I mean, it is just beautiful beyond comprehension, and I'd say no matter which console you're playing it on, no matter if you're playing it on the Wii U, which I already said is a great version, or the Nintendo Switch, either way, definitely a must-have. Definitely worth the wait, and definitely one of the greatest entries and probably one of the best games of 2017. So, my final verdict, rockin' Wii Remote with 2 Wii Motion Pluses, trust me, it's that good. So, till next time, happy gaming.